Hello guys, how are you? Hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe out there in these pandemic times. It's good to be back, talk a little bit, make a little video regarding MMA, regarding fights, particularly UFC. UFC has done a brilliant job of dishing out fights during these times. Not many sports going on right now or being televised, and I think UFC has done a brilliant job of coming back and staying and dishing out events and keeping their fighters busy, paying them. I mean, that's amazing, commendable, and great for us fans. You gotta admit, it's great for us fans. Just wanted to basically talk about the topic I want to talk about right now is cornering. There's been several things that have highlighted that cornering aspect of MMA fighting in UFC. Three fighters come to mind: Anthony Smith, Tony Ferguson, and the latest one is this kid that fought Max Rohskopf. Hopefully, I pronounced his name correctly. These three fighters, um, they've had big things and controversy around them regarding regarding their corners, how their corners handled their particular latest fights that they had. Um, Anthony Smith could be argued that that fight should have been stopped by their corner. It could be argued that they weren't looking out for his safety the way they should have been looking out. According to Anthony Smith, he was okay with it. And I think the fighter's always going to say that. I think fighters will always say that it's okay, that they told their corner never to stop a fight, even if they're about to die. That is the mentality that comes with fighting, with fighters like this. But it's a mentality that needs to change, particularly more on the cornering side, because the same thing what happens is that in MMA there hasn't been a death yet. And I think that's one big factor. Thank God there hasn't nobody has died yet. But the moment that when that happens, I bet you that corners will change their stance on that. Even if a fighter tells you, I'll fire you if you stop a fight when I'm dying, or I want to die in there, or I'm prepared to die in there. You know how fighters talk? That's what they do. That's their mentality. That's how they become such high level fighters, by having that type of mentality. But even though that's a commendable mentality to a certain degree, it's not a wise mentality. It's not something that you should follow to the letter, because if your fighter is in that ring and he's gonna get killed, or he might get killed, and he gets killed, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your life. You're probably never gonna corner any fighter ever again. You're not gonna be allowed to do that. There's a whole baggage that comes with something like that happening. And why do I say it's only gonna stop when a fighter dies? Because it happened in boxing. Boxing, there have been several deaths. That's why in boxing nobody takes chances like that anymore. That's why the Wilder's corner in that last fight he had, the corner threw the towel. Such a high level money making fighter like Wilder, you don't want him to die in there. I mean, the guy already, he's a champion at that point. He might be a champion again. Give him the chance to, whatever, he loses this fight, but then he has the chance to come back later on and fight again. And you give that fighter, that corner gave Wilder that chance to fight again. Maybe he was bleeding from the ear. You don't know if there's brain damage going on in there. You don't know what's going on, what kind of internal injury that fighter has. So their corner was like, whatever, I'm stopping the fight. He's not gonna win. He's not gonna come back at this point. So there's a lot of factors that come into cornering. It's a hard job, man. So I understand. Anthony Smith at one point was handing his teeth to the ref. He was taking a beating. He was really, Texera was beating the crap out of him. And their corner just, failed to keep Anthony Smith safe. Thank God he didn't die. Thank God he recovered. But it does make a debate start. There is an argument to the fact that maybe corners at some point in a fight, when your fighter is really not coming back, maybe you should stop the fight, to preserve that fighter, so that fighter doesn't take damage and you don't take years away from that fighter's fighting career, and he can come back later on stronger, better, and maybe in a rematch, or maybe get the opportunity of getting that loss back. You see what I'm saying? Another fighter that comes to mind, the cornering, is Tony Ferguson. One of the things that is very interesting, is very obvious, is that without those thousands of fans cheering out there, we get this high definition hearing of everything that's going on in that octagon. And I'm talking about, the punches thrown, the kicks thrown, their breathing, everything. We're hearing everything. And that includes the cornering. We hear what the cornering says. We hear what they're telling their fighters, how they're keeping their fighters motivated, focused, and the strategy. There's, because we don't have that crowd around, and now we're listening and we're hearing things that before, when those thousands of fans are there cheering, we didn't particularly hear. So there is that difference right now. There is that spotlight going on right now in the cornering aspect of things. Tony Ferguson is a prime example of a fighter that he was getting beat the crap out of, and his corner was just not used to that. Eddie Bravo was there, and he just didn't know what the fuck to say. They were all stunned. They were also used to Tony Ferguson taking a beating. Then their opponent gasses out, and Tony Ferguson makes a miraculous comeback or comes out with this cool ass submission. It didn't happen, and that fight, Gagey, took years out of Tony Ferguson's fighting career. In my opinion, that's my view. So yeah, it was controversial. A discussion came out of it, and as a result of those two fights, Anthony Smith and Tony Ferguson, there is another fight that have been going on. There is a specific spotlight going on cornering right now, and which brings me to the last fighter, which is this kid Max Rohskopf. He this one is even more. There's more emphasis on the cornering, because this kid actually recognized that he was done. He himself felt that he was done, that he didn't have it anymore. He told his corner that to call it, because he was just done. I didn't see that fight myself particularly. I when I get a chance, I'll see it. But what do you do? What do you do when your fighter tells you, "Look, man, I'm done. Call it. I'm done. And I saw that his coach was trying to make him see the error his way, and maybe have him, and encourage him. No, go back in there, and you got this. You can do this. And admittedly, yes, this fighter did not have any significant physical damage, but maybe it was in here. He was gassed out. He was cardio. He took this fight on short notice, which is commendable itself. So what do you do then? And that's where the sparks a debate. That what do you do with the when your fighter tells you, "I'm done. Call it, call it, call it, call it." And he goes on and on saying he just basically is recognizing at that moment within himself that he can't go on. Do you push him, or do you do what he says? From what I understand, it wasn't even his corner that stopped the fight. It was the commission people, the ref. They asked the ref, and the ref said, they asked him, "Can you go on?" He said no, and they stopped the fight. But there's a lot of criticism toward his corner guy. And Max came out defending his corner guy and saying he did what he was supposed to do. So there's what do you guys think about that? I don't, it's very interesting. The questions are raised that what does that corner do for you eventually? I think the ultimate goal of the corner, even though their goal is for you to win, for you to give you strategy, keep you calm in there, the ultimate and the most important thing they have to do is keep you safe. Keep you safe so you can come back and fight another day. Because that's the name of the game. So you can keep fighting, so you can keep making money, keep making a living without getting any brain damage, without getting any permanent injury that will prevent you from fighting ever again. But I don't see things changing. That macho mentality, I'll die in here, I'm prepared to die in here. For a lot of fighters, it's just talk. But for a lot of fighters, they mean it. They would rather die. And they tell their corner, "I'll fire your ass if you stop a fight. Don't ever do that to me." Because there's a stigma to it, or embarrassment. And to me, it's, when you're already there fighting, for example, with this Max guy, he took this fight on short notice. And he was already in there fighting, man. So for you to say, I can't, call it, and you mentally broke maybe in there. But, mentally breaking is not a crime, man. You're human. You're flawed. We're all flawed. We make mistakes. And, people say, no, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. Not really, man. I mean, come back another day. Come back stronger. Try again, It's corny, but it's not how you lose. It's how you get up and come back and make it better, and win again. Those are all internal fights that are going on within fighters. So I'm not sure what the answer is. Did that corner do the right thing by not stopping the fight? It was just a weird event, and we are having this this high definition lens right now going on, focusing on cornering, because again, like I said, we don't have those thousands of fans, and we're listening to things that we don't usually are able to hear or listen to. So let me know what you guys think about, what's going on with that right now. Your opinions, likes, dislikes, let me know. And so we can have a discussion. Thanks for listening to me. I'm an MMA fan. I do this because it's fun, because I love MMA. I love the sport. And stay safe out there, all right? Thank you for listening to me. Peace.